Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Mina, and you're watching the second video to my 4-part series reviewing the Jaclyn Hill / Morphe Vault collection palettes. This one is on the Ring the Alarm palette, which is this palette right here. Very red, orange, fall tone color palette. It really is a beautiful color scheme, so I'm hoping that it works. The reason being for these videos, so that way you guys can judge for yourselves and you can see firsthand how well the palettes work. There's a lot of controversy surrounding these palettes, so I thought I'd give each one the attention that it deserves. So that way, like I said, it gets a fair chance and everybody can just decide for themselves whether these palettes are worth purchasing. So if you want to see how well this palette works, then please keep watching.
Every single day, I'm gonna make something great. That's my way. Every single day, I'm gonna make something great. That's my way.
Okay, so as you can see, I have no makeup on. I mean, I have my brows done, but I have no foundation, I have nothing on, and I haven't even put my primer on yet. In the last video, I used my Urban Decay Primer Potion, and I thought today would be a little bit more fitting to try to stick with the Morphe theme. And so we're going to go in with the Morphe. This is the Eyelid Primer in the shade Translucent. Just to see, you know, if all products work better alike with each other. I've never used this primer, so I'm interested to see how well it's gonna work. I'm just gonna get that all over the lid. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little greasy. Greasier than what I like. I'm not sure if I should set it or not, but let's see, let's give it a few minutes. So what I did in the other video was I tried to just stick to using this palette without having to dip into other eyeshadow palettes to complete the looks. So again, what I am not seeing in this shade, in this palette, is a shade light enough to be a brow bone highlighter or even an inner corner highlight. There's no light shade in here. The lightest shade in here is like this salmon-y shimmery color called Lolly. So I mean, we're gonna see how we're gonna make that work. This eyeshadow primer is drying down actually, which is really nice. Still a little tacky, but I think it's like it's a good tacky, perfect for the eyeshadows. And so like I said, since there are 10 shades in each palette, I'm gonna try to use as many of the shades that I can. So in the first video, I used different eyeshadows for each eye, creating similar look, but both with different color schemes, just so we can try both of the, so we could try all the shades. So first shade I'm going to dip into is going to be this shade right here called Rush, which is the lightest transition shade in the palette. It's a matte. So I'm just going to take that on a brush. There's quite a bit of fallout, but I mean, nothing too much. I just switched brushes. I wasn't feeling that fluffy brush right there. So this color has very nice payout. It is pigmented. I feel like the color is changing a little bit as I'm blending it out. It could just be me. Maybe it just needs to be built up. A problem I had with the first palette was that I was going in with too much of a heavy hand. So when it was time to blend everything, it kind of got a little muddy. So I am using a less is more type technique this time. So building is not a problem. I have no problem building up a shade as long as it blends out nicely. which it is. I mean, it is blending nice and didn't have to build it up too much. Okay. So next shade I'm feeling like I want to take is this shade right here called Alert, which is a very vibrant orange color. That one has a little bit more fallout. I barely tapped into it right there, and it has a lot of color on the brush, so I am gonna, can you see that? There's a lot of color payoff on this one. Like I said, I barely dipped into it, and it is staining the side of the palette. So this one, I feel like we really have to go in lightly. I'm gonna start by just pressing it in instead of just rubbing it in. Because like I said, even though I did that and you could see all the color coming off of it, there's so much pigment still on the brush that's coming off on the lid, which is fine. But I'm glad I tapped it off a lot of times so that way it wouldn't have gone onto my lid right here. So it is a very pigmented color. Let's see if it'll blend well with this one. Which it is. I found with the other palette, using the darker shades, once you started blending them, like they started disappearing, which was kind of weird. This one is blending pretty nice. I like to go back and forth with my brushes to make sure that everything is getting blended. I see no really like splotchiness. I did focus a lot of the color right there when I first laid it down, so I'm not too worried about that. I'm trying to... But the colors themselves are mixing well together, which is nice. So I think that for this look, I want to do more of a halo. A halo eye. The last one I did was like a half cut crease. So this time we're going to do more of the halo eye. I'm going to dip into the shade Secret, which is... It's like a red-brown color right here. It's the darkest shade. And I'm going to focus on the inner corner right here. And that also has a nice payout. Not too much fallout with that shade, which is nice. I really like this one. So far, so good. Okay, so now I'm going to cut out our halo. And I'm just going to take, this is from Too Faced, the Born This Way concealer. I'm going to take this, and then I'm just going to cut that halo out. Taking it on a Morphe M421. Alright, so now that we have our halo cut out, I think I'm going to go in with the shade On Camera, which is this beautiful gold color, and I'm really hoping that it's going to work. It's like a yellow gold. I'm really hoping that everything goes good. Alright, so I experienced a little bit of camera malfunction. If you watched my last video, then you know, and you've noticed that obviously the setup is different. The video quality might be different, and so I'm having to record on my phone. Like I said, the show must go on, and so we're rolling with what we got. So I ended up cutting my halo, and then I applied this shade right here called On Camera. I wet my brush with some Fix Plus, and it applied beautifully. And then afterwards I went in with my finger just to intensify it just a little bit more. But, you know, all in all, the shade is beautiful. It applied like butter, and then, you know, I just blended it with the rest of the colors. So for this eye, I kind of want to leave it as is. Like I said, I really like it. So far so good. This palette has not given me any troubles. So we're gonna do a different look on this side. We're gonna keep it halo still, but just change up the color scheme so that way we can use all the shades. So for this eye, I think I'm gonna use this shade. I'm gonna go in with the shade Mugshot right here, and I'm just gonna take that on a fluffy brush. It's a little bit deeper shade than the shade Rush, so like I said, most of the colors are pretty similar, so don't expect like a whole completely different look. Like in Bling Boss, I was able to pull off 2 different eye looks, but still all within the same shade range. So this shade is nice too. Like I said, it's a little bit darker than what I like to start in my transition, and I am gonna take a little bit of the Hush and just try to blend that line out a little bit more. Probably should have just started with the shade Hush, but I guess I'm just trying to dip into the other colors in the palette. Okay. So I see a little bit of inconsistency with the shade Mugshot right about here. It's a little bit darker than the rest, and I'm trying to blend it out, but I mean, it's not really working. But let's see if when we start to put other colors in, if it will cover it up. Now I'm going to go in with the shade right here. This is the shade Framed, which is that burgundy shade that I was talking about. So I'm going to take that. That one also has a lot of color on here, so look it. Can you see it? I'm going to go in lightly with this one. But definitely the color's there. The color's there, which is great. Let's see if they'll blend all together. Like the first eye, we had such success with it, so hopefully it works good this time. And it is. It's beautiful. So far, it's beautiful. Everything's working good. Hopefully I'm going to blend it upwards so that way we can get rid of that dark little spot that we have. All in all, this color palette is blending out nicely. I was able to kind of get rid of that dark spot by blending up the shade Framed up with the shade Mugshot. So that's good. If you're willing to put in the work, I guess, then they are good palettes. I just feel like everybody wants them to be bad, so everyone's trying not to give them that benefit of a doubt. But like I said, if you're paying for, you're paying for the palette, you might as well want it to work. So again, going in with the Too Faced concealer, I'm gonna cut out this halo, and then I don't know, I might take this shade right here called I'm gonna take one of these 2 shades here, which is Lolly and Bomb Ass. So we will see. I'm just gonna take some on my brush, and then I'm gonna spray with some MAC Fix Plus, just like I would any regular shimmer shade. But so far, mine are working great. I do see that, maybe some people getting a bad batch, but overall, I mean, like I said, mine has been pretty good so far. Lolly is more like a salmon, like an iridescent salmon. It's lighter than most of the colors in here. And just like I did with this side, I'm just going to take some on my finger to intensify it. And then I'm going to kind of rub to help like almost activate that shimmer. Just like that. The brush is more for like precision. But if it's more like an all over lid type thing, then I'll usually just go in with my finger with some Fix Plus. But I mean, for the sake of this. Okay. So I'm going to go in with the shade Framed. And I'm just going to intensify those inner and outer corners a little bit more. And what I want to do now is take this shade right here called Siren, which I feel is just more like a shimmer version of the shade Framed. It's not really a matte, it's more like a satin finish. So I'm going to use that to help blend in right here. Again, I just want to make a note that going in with these eyeshadow palettes, you really want to go in with a light hand because they are pigmented, at least the ones that I have dipped into so far. Just like that, and go back in with that one. And I'm going to take a little bit of the shade Bomb Ass. Just a little bit right there. And I'm going to help just make this a little bit more brighter coming inwards for that gradual halo. Oh, yeah, that looks so pretty. So yeah, like I said, so far I'm not having really any big problems with the palette. I mean, it's good. I like it. You guys are seeing firsthand, you know, how they're working. So now I'm going to go off. I'm going to finish the look off and come back and I'm going to give my final review and thoughts on this palette. Alright, so our look is complete. I went ahead and added some eyelashes and I added some of the same color that I added in the middle of the halo to the inner corner of my eyes just to make them pop a little bit more. And then, you know, I added some black eyeliner and then just smoked out my bottom. And then on my lips, I'm wearing Gemini by Jeffree Star Cosmetics. So, final review on Ring the Alarm. All I have to say is I love this palette. Like I said, I didn't have much problems with it. And I don't even think that there were problems. You know, it just could have been my application. I'm not making an excuse for them. But like I said, there wasn't really any problem. The only shade I didn't use was this shade right here called Boom, which is a kind of a like a orangey rose gold color. But you know, don't judge a color by the swatch because you never know how it's going to apply. But like I said, if everything else applied beautifully, I don't see why this one wouldn't either. But like I said, this shade is beautiful, perfect for fall. That's just around the corner. And this one, on a scale of 1 to 10, is definitely a 9. Nothing's ever perfect for a 10, but you know, it's right up there. So like I said, if you're trying to buy the palettes individually and you're just interested in 1 or 2 of them, this is definitely one that I recommend. It's 2 down. I have Bling Boss and now Ring the Alarm. The next palette I will be reviewing will be Armed and Gorgeous, which is the palette that has had so much talked about it, so it should be interesting to see how that one works. It has the really beautiful yellow shade, so I'm super excited to dip into that one. And if you're not already, please be sure to subscribe to my channel. Hit that notification bell up in the corner so that way you know whenever the next videos are uploaded. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram. So I will catch you guys in the next video, and thank you for watching.